What's going on? This is Big G from G Riders, and welcome to another episode of Testing Rides. Today, I'm going to be testing out the 2021 Mazda 3 Premium Package. Welcome to the 2021 Mazda 3. The fourth generation of the Mazda 3 was introduced back for the 2019 model year, and for this fourth generation, Mazda wanted to continue to move the Mazda 3 forward by offering the turbo engine, which is really exciting, and now offering all-wheel drive for this fourth generation. And this Mazda 3 is just as popular as the other ones, if not even more, with now having a hot hatch, semi-hot hatch type of option now to get. So, one of the big things with this new Mazda 3 is that this car, again, I mentioned that in its compact form, it now offers all-wheel drive, which the only other car that offers that nowadays is cars like the Subaru Impreza. Except the Mazda 3 is a fun car to drive. Not to say anything bad about the Subaru Impreza, but the Subaru Impreza is not made to be a fun car, and Mazda has injected that fun of driveness with having all-wheel drive. And now, you get the same 2.5-liter turbocharged 4-cylinder in the Mazda 3 as you can get on the Mazda 6, the CX-9, and the CX-5, and basically all the Mazdas at this point. So every single Mazda, except the Miata, has that 2.5-liter turbocharged engine as an option now, which is pretty freaking awesome. So, this is the 2021 Mazda 3. The Mazda 3 comes standard with the 2-liter 4-cylinder, but that only comes with the base model. This particular one has the 2.5-liter inline Skyactiv G 4-cylinder, making 186 horsepower and 186 foot-pounds of torque. Since this is a compact-sized car, this car does weigh about 3,000 pounds, but with that weight, it does still get a pretty decent 26 in the city and 35 out on the highway. To be honest with you, even though the power numbers are pretty cool and everything like that, those MPG numbers aren't that great. I think Mazda could really benefit from having an 8-speed gearbox to get those numbers up in the 40s, because as you guys know, I do have a 2019 Volkswagen Jetta, and my Jetta gets 30 in the city, 40 on the highway, and has the same torque that this has, because it has that 8-speed gearbox. I think that this Mazda really would benefit from it. So, this is the 2021 Mazda 3 Select Package, and the Select Package is 2 steps up from the base model. So this one is about $23,000, and you get a lot of good standard equipment on this one. Like the keyless access system. Also, you get the Apple CarPlay and adaptive cruise control, and a lot of other things on this car that come standard from kind of the lower models and above, but you just get a couple small things added on here, and I'll talk about that more in the walk-around portion. But $23,000 is not a bad price for this vehicle considering the amount of equipment. This has the same amount of equipment as a mid-range of a lot of the other cars like this, like the Hyundai Elantra that I reviewed last week. This is pretty comparable to that in terms of equipment, except that this has a couple more things that Elantra doesn't, but still about the same in terms of price-wise and equipment for the money. So, with that said, let's go and take a tour of the 2021 Mazda 3. Welcome to the walk-around of the 2021 Mazda 3. The new Mazda 3 has been a very great look. The Mazda 3 has been a good-looking car for the last 7 or 8 years or so, since the 2014 model came out, I believe. I think that was 2014, but it was the last generation of the Mazda 3. And Mazda has continued on with that very nice, with that very elegant, very aggressive look into this 4th generation. I love the design of Mazda 3s. Mazda 3s are some of the best looking of the compact sized cars around. Just the front looks really aggressive, looks really mean. I love the size of the grille. I wish they would black a lot of this chrome out, but it's not that big of a deal. I love the headlights are nice, and they're small and squinty. They look really good. Moving over to the side, on the Select model, you do get these nice 18-inch wheels. This is a pretty typical Mazda wheel design, but it looks really good, especially on this car. Just because this Mazda 3, honestly, when they say compact car, they meant compact-sized cars. So this car is not huge anymore, not huge and growing like all the other compact-sized cars in this class. It still remains compact, and these 18-inch wheels complements this car's kind of smaller body. Moving across the side, it's just really clean and elegant. Walking around to the rear of the car. This is my favorite angle of the car, honestly. It kind of takes me back to, I think it was like the facelift version of the RX-8 back in the early 2000s, these taillights look just like that. So they have, like, if you get a higher model, you have kind of the dual beams in the back, and on this model, it does come with LED turn signals and reverse lights. But funny enough, the other Mazda models, the other modern Mazda models, like I believe it's like the CX-5 and CX-9 still don't have those tail lights, and I think that they need to update that soon to kind of make it match the rest of the lineup. All right, you see, you still got your Mazda 3 badge. They changed the font on a lot of the Mazda stuff. Looks pretty nice. And then you got your Skyactiv G on the other side. And almost forgot to mention, you do have dual exhaust pipes. Walking out to the other side of the Mazda 3 is basically the same, but I'm gonna point out a couple small details. So the Mazda 3, since it is one of the modern Mazda models, it does have kind of the more hidden keyless access systems. So to lock, you have the little notch right here on the door that locks the car. And to unlock, all you do is walk up and you grab the handle. After you wait a few seconds, grab the handle, and it unlocks all the doors, which looks pretty nice. You got the nice little turn signals there on the corner of the mirror, and then the blind spot monitoring system, they made it a little bit more modern to just be kind of like the triangle, if you guys can see that up there. And I'm glad Mazda just did some small changes to make the new Mazda 3 feel and look a lot more modern than the one it replaced. And the other one didn't feel that old, so they just improved upon what was already working very well. All right. Honestly, the biggest design changes are on the interior, so let's go ahead and take a look on the inside. All right, let's go ahead and take a look at the interior of the 2021 Mazda 3. Welcome to the interior of the 2021 Mazda 3. Let's go ahead and take a look here. I'm going to start it up, so we'll go outside. All right, looking around the Looking around the 2021 Mazda 3, the interior of the 2021 Mazda 3 is really nice. Like, you got the nice soft touch materials here. Like, this design looks amazing. I love the new infotainment system that comes in a lot of the new Mazdas. Everything down here is pretty much the same business as usual. But everything up here looks really nice and looks a lot more modern. You still got this contrast stitching here that goes across the dash that matches the one that is on the seats. The climate controls are a lot simpler there. They're pretty small, and it only has the essential buttons that you need. And this car is not a higher model, so it doesn't have heated seats or heated steering wheel, and those controls will go there. Your four-way flashes, your push button. The steering wheel is the same one that you'll find on the Mazda CX-30. It's been around for a couple years. It's been around for a little bit now, and I really like the new design. Having the adaptive cruise control stuff over here, then having the other infotainment cluster is now kind of configurable. You can hit the info button. You can change what you see. And I like the digital speedometer, and I changed it to have the Mazda empty over there on the right and the instant MPG over there on the other side, and I think it looks really nice. And then up there in the top corner pops up the speed limits information there. But the new interior of the new Mazda 3 is pretty nice, but I can tell that this one is not the higher model because the roof panel feels really cheap. If you take a look, there's a nasty panel gap right there where the tweeter sits. I don't know what that is from and why that's like that, but you're finding a lot more panel gaps than you would normally in Mazda products before. But it's not something that you're really going to notice right off the bat. I had to spend a couple days with this car to even notice any of that stuff. And again, you still have to look for pretty cheap materials. I think you have to look for cheap materials in this car, which it's really good. But you got to remember that this is a $23,000 car. So, you know, I can't fault this car too much for having some cheap things on, especially with this being a compact size car. So I'm not gonna even fault or talk too much about that on this car. So a couple things. I like the infotainment system. It works really well. It has your basic information, it's pretty much the same as a lot of Mazda infotainments was before. It's just it's all ran by the touch wheel, and this is not touchscreen or anything like that, even when you're in park, which is a little bit annoying, but oh well, we'll get over it. But for the most part, though, this new interior of the 2021 Mazda 3 is really nice. you know, you got like some weird panel gaps and things like that you find in the car. But for the most part, this car is really nice and looks really good overall. So honestly, like for the price point that this car is, it's really good. So let's do the most important thing about the new Mazda 3, and let's go ahead and take it out for a drive. Welcome to the driving portion of the 2021 Mazda 3. Let's go ahead and head on the road here, see how this thing is. All right, first thing you gotta do in these Mazda 3s, throw it in sport mode. I'm gonna kick it over to manual mode, and Jesus. Really hooks up really well. All right, welcome to the driving portion of the 2021 Mazda 3. The one thing that I can say about the new Mazda 3 is it continued on from the last Mazda 3 of being a very, very, very good car to drive on the road. I'm gonna go by this person here walking their dog. But this car is a very, very, very good car to drive on the road. This is the sportiest of the compact size cars by far, by every inch of the word. So this car drives to me like I remember my GTI driving. And this Mazda, I had a Mark 6 GTI, so it wasn't like the newest of the GTIs, but this Mazda 3 handles pretty damn close to the way that car handled, which is pretty amazing. So I'm going to go ahead and hammer it. It's pretty quick too. At 186 horsepower, and 3,000 pounds, this car is not a slow car. Like, just barely the throttle here. It gets going pretty good. Let me slow my butt down here. But this car gets moving pretty good. Steering is very good. Mazda still remains to have the best steering in the game. I forget the type of system that they use, but whatever they use, a lot of other companies need to take notes, because it's very good, really responsive. The gearbox is pretty responsive for not being a dual clutch or anything like that. And there's lots of great chassis feel, actually. So I was a little nervous when Mazda decided to go to a torsion beam rear suspension setup from the independent rear that I used to have on the last generation. But honestly, I can't tell. I can't tell at all. I mean, well, I'm not gonna say all that. I can't tell that much. The kind of the small things that I've noticed is going over speed bumps. Sometimes it could be a really firm, like almost wheel hoppy, I want to say. I've been over a couple speed bumps and they're the wheel hopped over the bump, which is kind of weird. And I feel like an independent rear suspension setup car is not going to do that, especially with this car kind of being stock the way it's set up. Maybe I was just hitting the bump too hard, but I wasn't going very fast over the bump, so I don't know what the hell that was. But besides that, for the driving characteristics, I have absolutely no complaints at all. This new Mazda 3 is absolutely amazing, and honestly, like, Mazdas are just magic. I mean, it has to do with the torque vectoring system that they put on all their cars, but all right, so I'm gonna talk about a couple things that I don't like about the car as we're stuck behind a bunch of slow-moving traffic. So, a couple things. I don't like this car doesn't have a touchscreen. That's actually very annoying that this car does not have a touchscreen for the infotainment system. I'll try to, when I'm not moving, I try to do stuff on the touchscreen and it doesn't work, especially like searching stuff on GPS. That's really annoying. I mean, I know you can just type it in on Waze or something like that on your phone and then search it on there, but sometimes I do like to use the on-screen keyboard to see how responsive and quick it is, and this car doesn't have it. Other thing, the safety systems. So this car has the adaptive cruise control, which is some of the best adaptive cruise controls there is that I've experienced in one of these compact size cars, and that's really good. But the lane keep assist, which is more like a warning system, is not good at all. So it's, well, I wouldn't say it isn't good, it's just very sensitive. So say for instance you slip out the lane just a little bit, the car freaks out and jerks you back into the steering, jerks you back into your lane. And even if you've already fixed the problem, it still jerks you back. So I don't really like that part. And there's really no easy way to turn it off. You have to dig through the menus to turn it off. I know the companies want you to have those safety systems on to keep you safe and everything like that. But honestly, it's a little bit too intrusive, and I wish Mazda would dial it back just a little bit. But honestly, that's my only complaint about this car, and also the simple fact that this one doesn't have heated seats. And the last one that was equivalent to this, which is like the Touring that I drove back in 2017, did have heated seats. So that's mildly annoying. But that's my only like really small gripes about this car. This car is really amazing. It's really comfortable too. As you guys know, I'm a big dude, over 6 feet tall, over 350 pounds, and I'm extremely comfortable driving this car. I absolutely love driving this car, actually. You know, I got this car with 176 miles on it, and I did about 400 miles in 2 days. And I absolutely love this car. And it's pretty dang quick. I'm probably gonna have to blur out this or block the speedometer out for that one, but this thing is pretty quick. Like this car, this is the first time I've had a chance to spend time with a 2.5 liter Mazda 3. Like I drove Tony from New York back in 2015, and I thought it was quick then, and even now as I'm driving a lot of the cars that I've driven, this car still remains pretty quick for a compact size car. It is faster than my Volkswagen Jetta. I'll definitely give it that. This car is way faster than my Jetta. Like, especially like the top end stuff. And this gearbox is a lot more responsive than I remember it being. Honestly, I think it's more responsive in this Mazda 3 than it was in the Mazda CX-5 I just reviewed. I know the Mazda CX-5 is more of a comfortable, like, they want to make a luxury compact size crossover, but I still wanted the gearbox to be a little bit quicker than that, even though because I have the paddle shifters, and this gearbox is a lot quicker, and I don't really have any complaints about it. Even though I think it would benefit from getting something like a dual clutch gearbox, it doesn't really need it, I would say, which is kind of a pretty bold claim for this car. It doesn't really need it, but it still would help quite a bit, the automatic gearbox here. I don't know what else to say about it. This car is really good. It's comfortable. It's fun to drive. It rotates. This car is comfortable. It's really fun to drive. The steering feels nice. The interior fit finish is pretty good for the cost of this car. It's really comfortable. The seats are very comfortable. Got that nice bolstering. I have enough leg room, enough shoulder room, enough headroom in this car. The back seats are pretty small, but that's to be expected, to be honest with you, with this being a compact car. Like, this car is not really supposed to have the biggest back seat ever. And the Mazda is one of the last like compact size cars. When they say compact car, they mean compact car. So this one is still pretty compact, which I think is a great thing. I think a lot of the other compact cars have gotten a little bit too big to where they were about the size of they're about the size of a couple generations ago mid-size car, which is kind of a problem when cars are getting that big. They're about the size of their old bigger version of the car. So one thing that I would say okay about this car is that the fact that one thing that I would say about the car that isn't really ideal is the fact that this car doesn't get great gas mileage, to be honest with you. Mazda has been very good about, Mazda typically, traditionally gets really good gas mileage, but this one, because it's still rocking with that old 6-speed automatic gearbox, this only gets 25, 26 in the city and 35 on the highway, which, honestly, that's not good. Crossovers are getting pretty close to that type of gas mileage now. Cars that are bigger than that are getting better gas mileage nowadays, and I think that's just a little bit unacceptable for them to be having that type of gas mileage on a car like this size. I know that if you're buying a Mazda, you're buying a Mazda because you want a compact car that is fun to drive without having to break the bank, but at the same time, I'm expecting better gas mileage from the Skyactiv engine that's in this car. And, you know, honestly, I wish they would put the Skyactiv X in this, but I understand why they don't, because here in the United States, they said our gas isn't expensive enough for us to have that engine, but it'd be nice to have that engine so this car can have the horsepower and torque that it does, and also get excellent gas mileage. But for the most part, I don't have any complaints about this car. This is a very fun to drive car. It looks great, it drives great. Lots of great features for the size of car that this is. Like, you know, and this car is just a blast to drive, even though it's just like one of your basic, like, small 4-cylinder commuter cars. And honestly, like, that's what makes the Mazda 3 so popular and so important in this market, is no one else is building a car that is this fun to drive. I've driven all of them, and nothing is this fun to drive. Nothing. This is the top of the line in terms of fun to drive, small, compact 4-cylinder cars that are not like any of the performance versions of the car. You know, even like the Lancia GT, not the Lancia GT, the Lancia N-Line is kind of a sportier model. The GLI, of course, is a sporty model. The Civic Sport Touring is kind of a, I mean, that one is not really, it just has the higher, it just has the better look, but Mazda has absolutely nailed it, even with this torsion beam rear suspension setup that they've done for this newer model. They have absolutely nailed the handling on this car, and I'm really impressed. And if I didn't just buy my Jetta and got the deal I got on my Jetta, this is the car that I would own. Probably a hatchback, even though I don't love the look of the hatchback, but I just like the extra practicality that hatchback has. But this car is absolutely great. It is absolutely amazing. And if you're looking for a compact size car and you want something fun to drive, this is definitely the car for you. But if you're looking for excellent hyper mileage, gas mileage, and all that stuff, maybe look at something else different. Maybe like the new Elantra or something like that. But in terms of just overall like fun to driveness and being a great, excellent kind of a sporty compact car, this is it. This is definitely it. This has always been it, and hopefully some of the automakers can make some changes so they can make something that competes with this, because nothing else in my book competes with this at all. This car is absolutely amazing. So if you like this video, hit me with a thumbs up, hit that subscribe button, keep riding me. Thanks for watching.